Dr. Pauly into it.
Hey, Pauly would be a good guy to do it, you know. Welke would be, well, Welke hates sports, but...
I was about to say.
Yeah, he does not like it. He is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he does not like sports at all. He's very, very anti, they're paying sports so much money. So maybe not Welke. But that's kind of his kind of, you know, pop culture. That's why I kind of brought that up. So, I don't know, if we could get him to be a little bit unbiased, that'd be alright. So, yeah, history of sports class would be a lot of fun, you know. We can talk about the history of UCA sports.
There we go.
It's a little bit more original.
Hey, so why don't we just give our listeners a preview of our show today. We're going to talk a little bit about the World Series, Royals, Giants. Great World Series, honestly.
Yeah.
It really has been.
Which is good because we needed kind of a good refresher after a couple of World Series have just been not entertaining to watch. You know, blowouts, big sweeps, 4-1 series, you know. It's going to be good. It looks like they're battling back and forth.
Yeah, I think it's a great series. And then we're going to talk a little bit about college football. Of course, we're in the South.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about college football.
We are.
Whenever we left off last time, we were trying to figure out if Arkansas had a chance against Alabama.
That's right. I do remember that. We
took
a break over fall break.
Well, yeah. And so, you know, we're trying to figure out if the Mississippi schools were for real.
Yes, it's true.
You know,
it's still there, yeah.
You know, there's a lot that's gone on since we last met in college football, and there's a lot to talk about. We can also discuss maybe a little bit of flag or no flag in the Florida State Notre Dame game. Do you keep the flag in your pocket? Do you throw it?
Yeah, that's a good one that we'll talk about maybe
I'll let
later.
you ponder that one for a moment.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate that.
And then, you know, college basketball is right around the corner, and I am so excited for college basketball. Yeah, you know, popcorn popping, you know, the hardwood. I mean, it's just basketball season.
Yeah.
You can't beat basketball season.
I'm excited to learn a lot about you. You know, I'm a college basketball guy as well. Of course, I start being really interested once it comes to be the Pac-12 tournament, which is, I mean, the tournaments, I think, well, I should say this, but before I get too much into it, but I think the conference tournaments are more fun than March Madness. I just think there's a lot more, like, intensity between the two teams. I think there's a lot more, like, we have to win this. There's a lot more, like, you know, teams at the bottom of the conference are like, we've still got a shot. We've still got a chance to get that, like, 8 seed and get in the tournament if we win this conference. Like, it's just a way for every single team to be available, you know, in the so I don't know, I like conference tournaments. There's a little bit more passion and rivalry with me, I think, but to each his own.
I see your point. I respectfully disagree. Even though I will say this, probably my favorite basketball game that I watched growing up, like, I still remember, you know, where I was at watching this game. Like, it's still I think it's the best game that I ever watched. It was Syracuse versus UConn in the Big East tournament, the 6 overtime game.
Yes, I remember that.
It was absolutely ridiculous.
Every time they throw up a shot at the end, it would just not go in.
Jerry McNamara hitting that clutch three to send it into overtime.
Yes.
Such an entertaining game. Probably one of the most entertaining game I've ever seen. It was absolutely incredible.
Then both teams got burnt out during the tournament. They were like,
"Oh no, wait! That was the Kemba Walker UConn team.
Oh, then they won the championship.
Then they won the national championship that year.
Okay, wow. Yeah, well, Syracuse got burnt out.
Syracuse did get burnt out, but
it was a good game, and it's time for the season. It's game time.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So why don't we just go and do a little bit of our legal stuff that we have to take care of, and then we will go dive right into a little bit of the World Series.
All right, sounds fun. We'll see you in a second, sports fans. I'm going to do another commercial for a 10-second one.
91.3. This is Tom Bevel from Conway, Arkansas, and I just want to say that KUCA brought me to today.
We're right back with you, sports fans of KUCA Radio. Matthew Berry, Christopher Cole, coming right back at you. I forgot what we're going to talk about, Matt. Give me
World Series.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a lot happens in 20 seconds. You know?
Yeah. So we got a 1-1 matchup. I think the series is shifting back to it's shifting back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's going to San Francisco tonight. Yeah. So Chris, who do you like in tonight's matchup? Who do you think is gonna take this crucial game 3?
Yeah, this, it's very, very difficult for me to go against the Royals at all. And really, they've just shown so much swagger when they've played. Swagger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
really,
I know what you're saying.
They
yeah.
they reclaimed it on Tuesday, or what night did they play? Tuesday? Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? When they reclaimed it, man, like major. I mean, they are back at it. They're back, chatting, yelling at pitchers. They're back hitting home runs, and they're back, hitting 2-run doubles. It was an excellent game to watch, but the Royals just look really good right now, and it's hard to want to go against them. I mean, especially since they've won 8 out of 9 games in the postseason. I mean, I can't even imagine that. I got to pick the Royals for the rest of the series. I mean, they looked so good that last night, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants don't win another game this series.
I disagree. I think the Giants will get another one. They will get one whenever their ace pitcher, Madison Buckhalter is going to be on the mound. They'll get another one that game.
Okay.
He is dominant in the postseason on the mound.
It's very true.
So
Very true. Royals have come alive, and they've also lost Billy Butler. I forgot to mention that. So that's a little bit of a, you lose the number 4 guy in your lineup, you're not going to be sitting happy in a couple of weeks. But I still think they're so good. Team rise, they're just all over the place.
and the pitchers have to hit tonight. So that,
Yes,
I think
true.
that's big. So
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
going to have your DH. Pitchers have to hit tonight.
That's true.
And so I think that's going to come into a factor a little bit. I think Game 3, I do like San Francisco in Game 3,
Yeah.
just because there's a lot of kinks that the Royals have to figure out. They have
Yeah.
to figure out how they're going to win the rotation with the pitchers hitting tonight. Billy Butler is
Yeah.
out right now. Tim Hudson's pitching for the Giants.
Uh-huh.
So, there's some stuff. There's some stuff to be worked out, and so I think I like San Francisco
you got a good
tonight.
That's a
I
good
think
argument.
Kansas City takes Game 4 though.
You've got a really good argument there, and the more that you've almost really talked me into it. I really feel like the Royals are really good, and I think that they're going to win this series. To tell you the truth, I don't think this is the Giants series at all. I think the Royals are just too hot, too much right now. But I think you're right. Like, you've made a very convincing argument. I thought this was going to be a blow out of the water series. I see it kind of going to 4 games to 7 games or 6 games
I
all of
do
a
too.
sudden. I was thinking 5, but no.
No, it's going to be a 6 or 7 game
Wow.
series.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
with you. I'm with you. You've convinced me well, man. You're a convincing speaker. I like it.
My arguing is useful every once in a while. Let me just say.
Yeah, especially when you're talking sports, because you've got some expertise in the area.
Dude, but yeah, hey, we got the World Series. It's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah.
Nightcap game. I was looking at the college football nightcap game. If you're not watching the Bears, the UCA Bears, their homecoming coming up this
Yeah.
Saturday.
Very fun.
If you're not there, then hey, just go ahead and flip back and forth between college football and the World Series. I don't think you're gonna be disappointed at all.
Yeah, very true. It's a series that is going to be, it's viewer-tastic, which has really not been what's happened the past couple of
And
years.
that is something that MLB needs.
Yes,
So bad.
Desperately.
Desperately needs that.
I think the Royals have just been so good for baseball. Really,
They have
have
been.
been.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember we talked a little bit ago how we need the Yankees. We were talking about Derek Jeter and how we grew up in that culture where the Yankees were the team, and if the Yankees were on television, you were going to really watch them because of course Jeter and Rodriguez were all there, and we kind of compared it to like Tiger Woods. What's golf? Golf of course is kept going on. People are still talking. It's still interesting without it, but. With Tiger Woods, it just brings golf to a whole nother level, and I think the Royals are starting to be able to do that for baseball, and I can really see, I don't think the Royals are a franchise that's going to be there next year and the year after. I don't think they're a dynasty or even a perennial powerhouse. I think, but this year, this postseason has been made worth watching because the Royals have played so good, being such an underdog team, and they really should have been out in the first wild card game, but they've come back and done it. So they're fun to watch. I like it.
I do too. So, Chris, why don't we go ahead, set the stage a little bit, moving away from the World Series and moving into college football.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, AP, in the AP top 5, you have 4 schools from the SEC West
Yes. And Florida State.
and Florida State. Wow. Why don't we just take a look? Because it's been a little bit since it's been a while since we've been on the air. Why don't we just take a snapshot of just like each conference,
Yes.
and then we'll move into this next week. The
Okay.
games coming up this week.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and let you start with the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Just I know that's your expertise. So go ahead and talk to me a little bit about the Pac-12.
Yeah, they're my boys right now. I've been keeping up with the Pac-12 for quite some time, and although Oregon, of course, took that loss at Arizona, they still look like they're going to be the best team in the division or in the conference. But that said, every single game, I mean, as a fan and as a person that watches college football, every game looks like it's a potential trap game. Really, it does. The Pac-12, I think, up and down is very good this year, with the exception of Colorado. I mean, right now, in the Pac-12 North, the worst team is Washington State. And if you remember, Washington State gave Oregon a run for their money,
Oh, I do.
38-31, and it was scary. My grandparents were in town. We were scared about it. I mean, top down, I think it's incredibly good. Stanford's a good team this year. I mean, of course, they've dropped off from years in the past, but they're still enough to put a scare into other teams. And when Stanford lines up against teams like Arizona State and Arizona and USC, who they've already played, there's a potential that Stanford can win every game, and there's a potential that Arizona State looks very good. Looks like they might be able to pull out of the South, considering the fact that USC has kind of fallen from grace and UCLA has definitely fallen from grace. And Arizona proved to us that they got a lucky win against Oregon, or I mean, they game planned well against Oregon. Maybe it was lucky. I don't know. I'd like to think it was. They played well against Oregon, but not well enough for their kicker to make a chip shot field goal. I mean, top down, I think. I mean, the Pac-12 has how many teams ranked right now? USC, Utah looks really good too. USC, Utah, Oregon, Arizona State, Arizona. I'm trying to think about who else. Washington's not ranked, although they really could be. They're a 5-2 team themselves. Washington State's not ranked. Colorado, I already said Utah. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I
I think there's those 5, but each of them is pretty scary. And of course, every week, I mean, it's impossible to talk about college football, of course, without the Pac-12. But I just feel like more and more it's starting to get impossible to talk about college football without the Pac-12 as a main portion of discussion. I think the Pac-12 is definitely top down. I would take the 6th team in the Pac-12 against the 6th team in any other conference except for the SEC. Really, I mean, really, I think the Pac-12 is by far the second best division, or conference in college football. Top down, I think Oregon can compete against anybody in the country, and I think that Washington State, well, not Colorado, but Washington State can compete against any other conference's 9 team and win that game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is for real. I think I don't know. It's. I think you can make a good argument for the Big 12 also being competitive, competitive with the Pac-12 for the title of second best conference. But yeah, Pac-12's for real. Do you see Oregon being able to run the table?
Yeah, I do. I think that, I mean, every game, as I said, is a trap game, but Oregon's superior to every team that they're playing the rest of this year. And I think the only game that I'm scared about every game, but the only game that I'm looking forward to and a little bit cautious about is the Arizona State game that we might play, assuming we would win the Pac-12 North, and the Stanford game, of course, too. But yeah, those ones are the ones that we've got to win. But Oregon can run the table, and I really think Oregon's got a good shot at taking one of the spots in the college football playoff.
Yeah, if Oregon runs the table, I think Oregon's in.
Yeah.
However, if Oregon falls, I think that opens up the door for two SEC teams to be in the college playoffs.
Yeah, I think if Oregon, because there's no other team in the Pac-12 that's going to make it at this point.
I agree.
Yeah, Arizona State, I guess. Maybe Arizona State, they could run the table, but they're not ranked far enough, and so much carnage would have to happen in the SEC that I don't think it's a possibility.
Absolutely. So, okay, Big 12 is just absolutely bonkers right now.
Yes.
It's crazy. So here's the conference standings. Kansas State is 3-0 and on top of the Big 12 right now.
Kansas State is an Auburn victory away from being undefeated.
Exactly.